What is going on, friends and fellow artists? This is Matt, aka Mr.E in 3D, and in today's video I am going to go about the process of starting to add some of the fur details, the fur lining to Garn's boots. We're also going to add his cape and then the fur lining to his cape. I'm not sure how far I'm going to get with the fur lining around the cape. I may just leave that for an offline practice because I'm going to show you how I do that with the boots. So really it's just kind of a tedious thing to go through the entire exercise. We'll see how far we get though. I'm trying to keep these videos as short as possible considering how much content I'm going over in them. But again, we'll just see how that goes. A little bit of detailing I did offline when it comes to the character himself. I widened out his boots a little bit, made them a little bit bigger just to follow along with the original concept, which we have here. You can see in the original concept his boots and his feet are just a little bit bigger. So I went ahead and I changed that. I had a little bit of a rib cage here. I thought that added just a little bit more good definition. I adjusted some of his muscles, made them a little bit more realistic. I go to the gym. I have friends that go to the gym. I would have gotten picked on if I did not have his muscles looking as good as I could. Other than that, I think that's pretty much all I've done. I of course fixed the belt like I said I would in the last bit video. So from there, let's go ahead and get started because this is going to take us a little bit of time to do. So I'm going to go ahead and select my model. I'm going to go into edit mode. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab these faces here, okay? Using B for box select, I'm going to go all the way around and I'm going to grab that ring of faces, okay? I'm going to shift D for duplicate, click off, S for scale, scale it out just a little bit so I can see the difference. And while I have these faces selected, scale out just a little bit more for a working surface, there you go. I'm going to hit P to separate out the selection. Okay, and now this mesh is completely different from this mesh. And you can see I can no longer edit it. It's just highlighted in orange. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to object mode. And now I'm off of my model. And now I'm going to select those and turn those yellow. Okay, now I've selected these. There's a very important reason why I'm doing this. Throughout the entire process, and I've mentioned this in other videos, right? We have our model, our character that we're working on. And this over here, this subdivision that we're seeing, this preview window, the levels viewpoint, this is a preview of what's going to happen when I apply the subdivision. So if I take this down to nothing, this is actually the way that Garn currently looks if I were to just try to print him as he is. So when I push up this viewpoint, the more and more I break it down, the more faces it adds. Again, I've gone over this in previous videos. Now what I need to do when it comes to the fur, in order to get the fur to look the way I want, I have to apply this. So I'm not going to apply this to the entire model because then all of his faces will be small. That'll be something I do at the very, very end after he's posed because it becomes ridiculously difficult to pose him if I've applied the subdivision. So I've got to do the fur on a completely different mesh, okay? That is what I'm going to be working on here. And as you can see, when I duplicated out this, it actually duplicated everything. It duplicated the mirror and the subdivision as well. I don't need that many faces to do what I'm going to do. What I need is I need these faces to be squared. Okay, so we're going to leave this at 2. Let's go back in. And let's add a couple more loop cuts. Control R, scroll up once. Let's add one here. Let's add one here. We don't want to add too many because we don't want it to become too squared, right? Actually, let's grab you by the Y because I can see it's already against a little squared. Yeah, let's grab these front ones too. B for border. Unselect you. GY. And then what we want to do is we don't want this to be perfectly like shaped because this is going to be the fur. So it's got to have a little bit more organic look to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab random vertices. Okay, it doesn't have to be any particular ones. And then I'm just going to go GZ and bring these down. And let's bring it down to GZ. There we go. We want to get like, yeah, something like that. That's perfect. Grab ZU. Grab ZU. And GZU. There we go. It might be a little far on that one. All right. And I've already done this exercise a couple times offline, guys. So just a disclaimer, what I'm doing here today as I'm creating this video for content for the actual exercise, this may not be the version that you see in the final model. I'm going to be going through and just looking at all of the different versions I've done while I'm practicing and kind of decide from there which version I like the best. All right, I think that's good. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to hit A and select all, E, off click, S, and scale it out. Okay, we're going to make this into a solid object. And then SZ, we're going to bring this all back down to that one level. Okay. And now from here, I can see over here, if I have my model here, and again, if I turned this off, you would see it's completely square. I'm going to apply this. So I can look here or I can look here, and I can see I have enough squares. I really think I'm going to be able to do what I want to do with this. So let's go to object mode. And for the first time, let's go, for the first time throughout this entire project, let's go and apply one of these, okay? Apply. Now, when I go back in, object, edit, I have all these faces to work with, okay? What I'm going to do, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select random vertices. But when I select the vertice, I'm going to count around it in a square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to do the center, and then I'm going to make sure that there's a square around it that is unselected. So I'm not going to select this one. I'll select this one or this one and make sure that I have a square around it that is not in any way, shape, or form affecting those squares around that vert. I hope that's making sense to everybody. I'm just going to grab random vertices, making sure, yep. And you. And what I'm going to do, I'm then going to grab along the Y and pull those vertices out. And then grab Z. I know it looks kind of goofy right now. Trust me, we're going to go back over this in a second. I'm going to show you what it looks like because I'm going to end up subdividing this again. All right, G, Y, G, Z. Okay. It's a little bit too straight out. We want these to be like hanging. The fur. So the idea that I use for fur is a little bit different than the technique I use for hair. I do kind of use the same idea for hair in the fact that I subdivide it. And when we get to a character that has like, flowing hair, natural, flowier hair, whatever, longer hair, I will go through this process again and show you guys. Let's go ahead, grab the sides. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Again, I am trying to get my videos to be a little bit shorter. If I go U, I can't go U, I'll go U, and then I'll go U. But you guys can see how tedious this is and why I wouldn't want to spend too much time showing you guys this. All right, GX, pull these out. GZ, GX, bring us back, GZ. All right, perfect. Let's do the back real quick. We're just randomly grabbing. G, Y, GZ. Now typically too, I wouldn't actually be doing this with a mirror on the other side either. I would actually typically be creating these boots individually. Or the other alternative that I have sometimes done is I will do what I'm doing right now with a mirror and then I will apply it, the mirror itself, and then I will actually separate out this one to its own mesh and do a 180-degree turn so that like what you see here that I'm doing right now would be in the front, and then all the sides would be reversed. I don't think we're going to have to do that, honestly, with the character that we're building, because he is more cartoony. If I were doing a more realistic model, I would be doing that possibly. I don't think we have to do it here. Oh, unselected all those. I should do that again. And GX, GZ. Let's get like this. GX, GZ. We want to get a couple along the top here. I don't see enough along the top here. GY, GZ. And then what I'll do is, because these are going to come out looking kind of flat, I'll grab this and this and this. And And I'll go GY and pull that out, GZ, and then make that actually a little bit better, GZ. Yeah. And grab U, GZ. And you can grab these at random too. You don't have to actually grab these by, you know, GX or GY. The important thing is it's kind of actually supposed to look a little random. And now that we've gotten this done, what I'll do, guys, I'll go ahead and show you what the process is when I finish up. So I'm going to add that modifier. I'm going to add that sub back. So we subdivided by 2. We're going to subdivide by 2 again and bring this to match the rest of the model. Oh. And we'll go up to 3. Now, it does look a little bit goofy there. What we can do to grab all that is we just go out here and we just grab all these ones that we pulled out, which should be easy to select because they're sticking off the model. It's not always the easiest thing to know what it's going to look like when you're doing this. Could have started off by subdividing out the gate, but that's okay. I think I grabbed one. Nope, okay, we're good. All right. And I'm shift clicking and selecting all these faces that I just pulled out. As I go. Yeah, and now we're just going to go GZ and we're going to sharpen these out just a little bit. And now you guys can see, because it looks a little bit goofy there, but as you pull out a little bit further, you're going to see what it is we were trying to accomplish. So I will scale this down a little bit. Let's actually fix that. We know how to fix that. So as I did, I think previously in my eye video, if you guys watched that video, since we separated it from the main mesh, it actually still gives us the same center line of the original, okay? So if I try to do anything to fix this, to make adjustments to size this down, it's gonna try to do all that off of the center line. So let's fix that real quick, okay? We have selected everything. We're gonna grab Z and bring it straight up until it's in line with that little dot in the center right there. Edit, object, and then we're gonna bring it right back down. And that does matter when you're trying to scale it in model mode, because watch. Now that I scale down, it actually does it more properly. Object, edit, let's go in, fine tune this a little bit. There we go. SY. And now you guys can see how I went about making the fur. Again, it's not perfect right now. I'll go back in, make adjustments. I may use a previously created model. I'm not sure yet. I just always like to let you guys know if I do stuff like that, because I think it's fair if you guys are to come back and say, wait a minute, I remember when he built those boots, the fur didn't look like that. I may do a more detailed version. I don't know. I'll still use the same process though. I would never ever come in and create something and not have it be created the way that you guys would expect it to be created. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the cape. That is basically the process I'm going to use for the fur. So let's go ahead and start the cape. You can see my cursor is way off. We want to fix that. We're going to hit Object, Snap, Cursor to World Origin. Very important. Always make sure when we're creating, we're doing that there so we're not having our meshes be all over the place. We're going to add Mesh Plane. Okay. We're going to GY, R90. Oh, took it off on angle. Hold on. Control Z. I'm sorry. RX90. Boom. Okay. And now I have it straight up and down. Perfect. Object, edit mode. Let's go ahead and add some loop cuts. Control R, scrolling up on that mouse until I get 4 or 5. Object. Let's go back up to object mode. Scale this way up with S, GZ. Scale. Z, okay, object, edit mode. Let's go ahead and apply a mirror. You don't necessarily have to. It just makes things a lot easier because it does take whatever you're doing on one side and do it automatically on the other, so you don't have to worry about it. So clipping. And now let's grab these verts and Control X and bring them way in. And let's get this to be more fanned out, as a cape would typically be. And again, guys, while I'm offline, I'll go through and I'll actually add a lot of the a lot of the details to the cape, make, you know, add some of the different curves and stuff to make it look more natural and more realistic. Control R, let's go ahead and add 3 like that. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. All right, let's go ahead and bring it in closer to our character, GY. Get it in as close as possible to his back. Right, object edit mode. And we are going to just go GY for that top. And I see it like almost immediately starts there. GY. And then from here, GY, bring that in. And then let's start bringing this around. So we'll skip these two. We'll unselect those. And that's E along the Y with that outside collar. GZ. E along the Y. GZ, bring it down. Control R. GZ on that. And then one more. E along the Y. GZ. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much perfect. Okay. Let's take you, GY. All right, now before I do anything else with this cape, and I'm not going to do too much again for the sake of this video, just for timing, what I'm going to do is, again, forward thinking, I know I have to basically create a fur collar based on our concept sketch. We've done the boots. Now we've got to do this fur lining around the collar. I don't think I'm going to make it as extreme as this because, you know, some things are great in 2D. They don't translate very well over to 3D. In other test runs that I've done of this process, this just doesn't really look all that great. Kind of looks goofy, especially considering the fact that we have to do the hair and the fur the way that we do. So let's go ahead and get this done real quick. I'm going to go ahead and grab these faces. And guys, it's an important thing to note, and I should have probably mentioned this at the beginning of the video. The overall process, remember, I'm doing everything with this channel is with the intent of 3D printing. So Blender has some amazing particle tools, some hair tools where you can go in and create super realistic looking hair. If you're doing something for like 3D animation, if you're creating cartoon characters and you're, you know, if you're going in, you want something to have more natural and real looking hair, there are some amazing tools within Blender that'll help allow you to do that. It has come a long way from when I started. When I started, the hair tools were not nearly as robust as they are now. So if we were creating him with the intent of animating him and I wanted him to have realistic hair, there are tools here to use. But with that mentality of 3D printing, those particle effects won't translate. I can't print those particle effects. So I have to go through this process of what I'm going through here, where I create this fur-like, you know, what I'm doing on the actual mesh to make it look like fur or hair. I have to add those lines. I have to do that extra work so that it actually translates out, okay? So now that I have these selected, I'm going to do the same thing I did with the boots. Shift-D, GZ, I'm going to pull it off. I'm going to pull this actually way up here, GZ, way up off the top. I'm going to hit P, selection, separate that out as a completely separate mesh. Now it's orange, and now I can come back and I can still edit out here, okay? I'm going to hit A for all, select everything, E, off click, S, and scale out, okay? Now it does scale everything out here. We want to make sure this is solid, so we're going to hit off that top, we're going to hit G, Y, and pull this back. And now we have a solid mesh, okay? I'm going to add that modifier back in. We always want to subdivide. Perfect. Do this by 2. And as we go back to the sketch, we can see the bottom of his cape is actually supposed to be torn a little bit. Let's go ahead and grab... Take this line. I want to grab you and you. GZ. Control R. We'll make these just a little bit. Let's go back to. Probably add a couple more loop cuts. I don't want to go too crazy with the loop cuts. Let's make these just a little bit more random, maybe. There we go. And then from here, I'm not going to go through the process because I really don't want to take up too much time, but I'll actually just, again, I'll be adding, just grabbing GY random sections. You guys can see what I'm doing here just to give it a little bit more depth. And then I'll slowly but surely, and I'll do a lot of this as well in the posing process, so I don't want to do too much of it here because I could be messing myself up down the road. But you guys get the overall idea, okay? And then for the sake of the video that's really quick, go into here, GZ, bring this down. Let's go through the same process we went through with the other model, okay? GY, GZ, good. And let's add one more there. All right, we want to make sure we're going to add a modifier, subdivision, and we're going to take a look and see what we've got. That's 1. We're going to go up to 2. Let's see how many squares that gives. You look closer, you can actually see the lines and the squares. I think that's going to give us enough of what we need. Perfect. Okay. A, off click, E, off click, S, GZ, make it a 3-dimensional object. We don't want it too big though. Perfect. Okay, edit object, grab this. Down here for our modifier, apply, object, edit. We are now back in. We have all those wonderful faces to work with. We're going to do the exact same thing we did with the boots. We're going to grab at random, but just make sure that we have those 8 vertices around it. Okay. And with the cape, we also want to make sure we're getting this a little bit more involved. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab more of these, but I'll make sure that when I'm done, they're more random. I'll show you how I do that. Almost all of these are going to come out straight along the top. Grab you, and you. All right, let's go ahead and GZ, pull these straight up. And then GX, they're going to come out. GZ, GX. This should be a little bit more extreme along the collar. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab, and I'm not going to select a angle. It's supposed to be like clumpier, you know, it's like he's supposed to be based on Vikings, right? So like it's supposed to be like a little bit more matted. It's not supposed to really be, you know, super clean or anything like that. It's supposed to be like, you know, matted, snow coated, whatever hair, right? And let's go back here and let's do the same thing along the back. Again, just trying to make sure that I grab with enough around it. And we really, really want this to kind of look thick. All right, got that, got that. Okay, can't select you. We'll select you, you, and then GY, GZ. All right, let's go ahead and re-subdivide that. See how it looks. Okay, so need a little more. That is perfectly fine. Click, 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 grab those faces again. But overall, I think you guys do get the process. You guys can understand it. I personally think this is just a really, really fun process. I do like the end result a lot. If you guys have a different way of doing this, or you guys think of a different way, one of the things I absolutely love about 3D art, and I've brought this up before, and I will 100% be bringing it up again. To me, you know, I am a gamer. I've been into video games my entire life. So, and I like board games. I like just games in general. And I feel like, the reason why I love 3D art so much is, to me, it's like a game. There's a set of rules that they give you, and you have to, whatever you're going to do, you are going to be creating it using the rules you've been given. Okay. And to me, I just think that is one of the funnest parts about this entire process is you understand that, okay, so I wanted to make an orc. How do I go about understanding what I understand about this art style? What can I do to create a character that I want to create? How do I visualize it using the tools at my disposal? And that is what we have throughout this entire process. That is what you are seeing happen in front of you. I wanted to create an orc warrior. How do I do that? Well, I know I have these tools that I am familiar with, and I'm going to take those tools and I'm going to go about the process of building him out. And that is what we have done for the past eight videos. I don't know. I'm not sure what video we're on at this point. But there you go, guys. So that is the process. Again, I'm not sure if I'll use this one or if I'll use another version. I might go back in and re-detail him out. But as of right now, you can see he now has fur collared. He's got his boots. And when he prints, this is going to look even more natural, I promise you. I'll go back in and make adjustments. But guys, that is the overall process. I cannot stress how happy I am with the way that he is turning out. He is exactly as I envisioned him in my head. Overall, he's just starting to look a lot more like our sketch. I will say this, I'm not going to add, as I'm looking at it, I'm not going to add this in the 3D space. This is something that I'll probably paint on, his little war paint. I might add a little bit more, in all honesty. But, that's kind of the point. We have a concept sketch, and then we come over, and we get it to look as much like it as possible, but maybe we make adjustments along the way. Who knows? All right, guys, in the next video, we will be doing his hands. I will be doing specifically adding the fingers, adding his hands for his weapons. The video that follows will be his weapons. I will be creating them. And then we will be posing. We will be finishing up this project and getting him ready to print. As always, guys, I appreciate the support I'm seeing in the channel. Thank you all so much. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Let me know if you guys have other ways of doing this, other ways that might work better for you. But I appreciate you guys so much. Have a great day.